Hello, my creative friends! I'm Sonia and welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to see you again. You guys have asked me a lot which school I finally went to, and it's so strange to me because in my Instagram bio I wrote everything with pure English. And I went to both. Yeah, I'm not joking. Last year I studied at both Gobelins and Calarts. So how did I find myself studying in two best animation studios in the world at the same time? I will tell you everything in this video. But before I start, I would like to put out a disclaimer. As always, you know that I am not a native speaker of English and I can make mistakes, so don't be mad at me. After the summer full of suffering and thoughts about the future, my family finally decided that Calarts was a better option for me, because of dorms, of course. In my video comparison of Gobelins and Calarts, you can see my thought process when I decided where to go. So I compared these two schools. This decision was pretty painful for me because although I already felt in love with Calarts, I still got very attached to some of my Gobelins classmates. And the idea that I would never be able to go to Gobelins Bachelor, which became almost exclusive after all the changes, was horrible for me. While I would be able to go to Calarts after Gobelins, because Calarts doesn't have any age limit, I wouldn't be able to go to Gobelins after Calarts. So, as a result, I just didn't send my documents to Gobelins before the deadline, and it meant that there was no way back, that I didn't go to Gobelins. And now I'm Calartian. But I thought about the correctness of my choice so much, and in general I thought about Gobelins and Calarts, that one night I had a dream. In this dream, I was in France chasing after Gobelins animation director Madame Marguin, asking her to give me one more chance and that I have made a mistake. After begging her for a long time, she finally gave me the papers which I could sign, and then I got up. And that very day, Gobelins sent me a message asking whether I would like to go to Gobelins or not. So my family and I decided that it would be better to pay the deposit to Gobelins and send all the documents, so to register, just in case if something goes wrong with the United States. Yeah, it was a mystery. It was a right decision because situation with COVID became worse and worse in the United States, and LA County just didn't allow Calarts to open. In the end of summer, we got to know that Calarts will operate completely online. So all the students, domestic and international, had to stay at home, as the campus was closed. As a result, I had a unique opportunity of attending both schools at the same time, Gobelins in person and Calarts online. Yeah, great decision. But on the other hand, it's maybe only one chance in a lifetime, so I'm not complaining. France is much more brave than the United States, so at the beginning Gobelins was completely in person, which made me suffer a lot, because at Calarts I had some classes starting at 4 a.m. and ending at 7 a.m. So these nights I didn't even sleep, because for me it's much easier to not sleep at all than sleep for 2 hours and then run to the school. Yeah, I slept on my desk while the dinner breaks at Gobelins, and yeah, my studies at Gobelins were not very effective. I do not even have a single Gobelins assignment, which I am proud of, because my only goal this year was to simply survive. At Gobelins, the first year was brand new, and we were kinda the first people the Gobelins tested the new program at. So unfortunately, I got fully concentrated at Calarts. I had an enormous amount of homework. So I made my Calarts homework while studying at Gobelins, and I made my Gobelins homework while studying at Calarts. So all the time I had a feeling that I was a spy on the mission, so I was afraid of being caught. Of course, I didn't tell anyone that I studied in two schools, as I was afraid of being bullied for it. And nobody wants to be bullied, right? So I decided to keep it a secret for the whole time of my studies. Only in December I told Calarts administration that I studied at Gobelins, and surprisingly I got a lot of support. Calarts administration is so sweet. After a month of in-person classes, Gobelins also had to go partially online. So our class was split in two parts, and one part went to study one day in person and another day in person. So we went to school on different days, and it allowed Gobelins to lower the amount of students in campus. It all made my life much easier because I didn't have to expose my sleepy self to people. Studying at Gobelins online was not a great experience because, of course, Gobelins is primarily an in-person school, a school which tries to give the students an experience of working in a studio. The worst thing in all this situation was that I was afraid of my Gobelins classmates for some reason. Partially it was because I recently moved to another country, and maybe it was also because most of my classmates were French and I didn't really speak French, and they constantly spoke French in front of me, so I didn't understand anything, so I felt very, very alone. I also thought that they knew that I didn't know how to draw, and studying at Gobelins and having some concerns about your art level is horrible, as you are surrounded by so many talented people, and it makes you even more insecure. And I couldn't tell anyone that my drawings were hella bad only because I studied at nights at Calarts. So after an in-person day at Gobelins full of anxiety and fears, I went home to have some rest during Calarts classes. My Calarts class suddenly became my comfort zone. Teachers and classmates were very positive and they spoke English all the time, so I understood everything. Even though I wasn't required to have my camera on all the time, I was willing to show my face to people. Of course, what could they do to me? I lived in another country. I completely had no time for myself this year. All the weekends I was doing homework. After Gobelins, I rushed home to be in time on my Calarts classes. Luckily, I lived only 5 minutes from Gobelins, so I could get home pretty fast. Even if at the beginning I had some energy to go out, after several weeks I got completely discharged. So till the very quarantine I just sat in my apartment. And I was afraid of going to my family because I didn't know if I would be able to come back from Russia to France. So my family decided that it would be better for me to stay in France and wait till everything would be over. So I was completely isolated. Then I caught COVID and I got to know about it only because it turned out that I ate rotten onions the whole week. And life just decided to add more fun to my survival. So the first half of my year was like a test drive of me, whether I would die or not. In winter I went home for Christmas and stayed there for 4 months. Because why not? My parents can at least feed me. With all these days and nights of studies, I became a complete vegetable who cannot even take care of themselves. So the help of my parents was pretty needed. Yes, studying into schools online was very tiring and highly unsuccessful. Whether Calarts was used to studying online because they already had an experience of having classes via Zoom, Gobelins was completely unprepared for it. So I had lots of technical problems. This year I had no vacations at all. Because when I had some day offs at Gobelins, I had classes at Calarts. And when I had vacations at Calarts, I had to study at Gobelins. So I just didn't have any time to have some rest. Classes in Calarts finished exactly on my birthday. It was like a birthday present. A couple of more weeks at Gobelins and I was free. After finishing my year at Calarts, I came back to France to have in-person studies. These were literally the best weeks of the whole year. That time I also realized that my Gobelins classmates were actually not that scary, and we were able to hang out together and get to know each other better. I got to know that my Gobelins classmates were not scary at all. They were very accepting and understanding. I first told about my situation of studying into schools to my Calarts friend, Michael, and later I told about it to my whole Calarts class, and only in the second half of the year I told about it to my Gobelin class, and I wasn't bullied for it. Instead of being bullied or boycotted, I was accepted, and that was all I needed. After the end of the school year, I went to Annecy, and it's all about the year of my studies at Gobelins and Calarts at the same time. Do I recommend you doing it? No. No. At the same time, it was the best year of my life. I had about 100 classmates. And I was able to talk to France and the United States the same day. And despite all the difficulties, I had lots of fun. I went to 2 schools only because I got very attached to both of them. And because I wasn't able to choose. And at the same time, I had this unique opportunity with Calarts being completely online. So I was able to go to both schools and had to study days and nights. And choosing one school would completely break my heart. I cannot even count how many buckets of tears I produced while thinking where to go. And finishing my comparison, which I started in my previous video, I want to tell you that both schools are heaven. Teachers never shout or scream at you. You always feel support of the faculty. And you can never be left behind, neither at Gobelins nor at Calarts. Nobody tries to mock you or make you feel uncomfortable. Please don't repeat it at home. I would never recommend you to go to 2 animation institutes at the same time. Because first of all, it's very tiring, and secondly, you just cannot be effective. You cannot study in both schools equally. You will, of course, end up choosing one school and spending all of your time on their homework and stuff, and just completely giving up on the second one. So why should you spend so much money and don't have good results? Just don't do it. And as a result, you will be constantly unhappy with what you do. And it's not good for your mental health. Yeah, and that's all about my studies in Gobelins and Calarts. Please, if you like this video or if you found my story interesting, just give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel to not to miss any of my videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye!